Well, hello. So today we're going to be talking about the 7 areas that I have heard over and over from therapists, friends through the years, people I've networked with and gone to continuing ed with, that these are the areas that they wish their clients knew. Now, why they don't tell their clients, I don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now. Number 1, we do not get shocked by anything. If you think that your story is unique and shocking and critical to you, it is to you. We understand that. And it's not that we don't value your story, and it's not that we think less of your story, but nothing is really going to shock us. As an example, I had a woman that came in and she was in her 40s and she told me that she was raped by a family member when she was in her early teens. And her mother hid the pregnancy and made her hide the pregnancy. And then when she had the baby in the bathroom, the mother then took the newborn infant and put the baby into a fireplace. That is horrible. And yes, I did go through all the proper protocols for reporting that story. But the point is, during that episode of her telling me the story, as horrific as it is, it didn't really shock me. Because a lot of her behaviors and how she presented herself, I knew there was a big trauma under there or traumas. And so it wasn't shocking to me. It was moving to me. And what I focused on was her healing. Nothing really shocks us. We're looking at it from a very different angle. We do not see clients as little Hallmark movies that come into our office, okay? So we're not sitting there with popcorn and wondering what big secret you're going to expose to entertain us. It's just not like that at all. Number 2, we don't discuss you to our family and friends. Your story isn't something that we carry outside of the room. Number 1, it's illegal to expose any of your identity or breach your confidentiality. But just from a daily basis, we're not bringing work home with us. So at the end of the day, we're not going and sitting at the kitchen table and saying, well, let me tell you the 17 stories that I heard today. At that point, we're just done. And if anything, we need to really switch gears. Now, do we bring up case studies like I just did in number 1 and told you the story of that woman and her experience? Yes, but we do it in a way that holds the privacy and confidentiality and protection of the client. So do we discuss you over a glass of wine at the end of the day? No. Number 3, this is so important. We don't judge you. I know that a lot of you, again, are feeling really vulnerable, and a lot of your life you have been judged and you have had the finger pointed at you and you've been blamed and you've been shamed, because what we see, even if you tell us something that for 99% of the people outside of the therapy world would look at and be really angry at you, we're looking at you going, okay, this person is brave and they really want help. And how can I help this person get past this really bad, negative experience that they are encountering? So as an example, I had a man come into the office one time and he told me that he actually was in jail because he was a pedophile, and he was released and he was going through some of the struggles that he was having and some of the temptations that he was having because he was dating somebody with small children. And I just thought, you know what? Here's a man who is owning his stuff and he really wants help. So without going into any more details about that, we did work through it, and then he was monitored and she was alerted. She had no idea that he was a pedophile. But the bottom line is, we don't judge. And I know for a lot of you listening right now, you would say, oh my gosh, if there was a pedophile in front of me, I would kill him and all of this stuff. I get it. I get it outside of the therapeutic box world. And I feel like that if I'm scrolling Facebook and I see things like that, I'm just very angered. But in the office, when someone is in the office and they're telling me something, and it is my job and it is my emotional and spiritual duty to help them as much as I can. Number 4, you're going to be shocked at this one. Your feelings are not all valid. I know. I think it was in the 80s that started coming up with Stuart Smalley from Saturday Night Live. Everything that you feel isn't valid. Yes, you are feeling it. When someone tells me that they hate themselves or that they want to harm themselves or someone else, that's not valid to me. I don't want you to feel that way. So for me to sit there and say, oh, okay, that's valid, feel that way, I'm not going to enable you. And I know there's a whole school of thought, and there are therapists that say every feeling is valid and everything else, but some of us don't feel that way. So if I start to feel that way, or if someone else starts to feel that way, we are going to challenge you to look at, is that really a valid feeling? What's underneath of that? Number 5 is that we're not all warm and fuzzy. Some of us are more stoic. Some of us never crack a smile in therapy. Not everybody is nurturing that comes into this practice. I am someone who brings a lot of humor into my practice, even if I'm the only one laughing sometimes. sometimes. But no, seriously, I actually bring a lot of humor into the practice, and I'm not a warm fuzzy. Some people need a really nurturing therapist. Some people want someone that can bring a little bit more humor and is a little bit more direct. Some people want someone who is more stoic and just lets them vent. So there's different types of personalities in the therapy world. So just because you might have had one or two therapists that are all warm and fuzzy, and that might be great for you, not all of us are like that. So you need to find someone who actually fits with your personality style and that is going to really connect with you. So that's why it's really important when therapists say that they give a free consult, take the free consult, because that's how you're going to get to feel the therapist's kind of vibe, okay? Number 6, we actually have issues. I know, that's a shock, right? But here's the reality. A lot of times people think that therapists have absolutely no issues, they have it all together,
or that they are absolutely crazy.
and I actually go more with that one. Why do I go with that one in a kind of tongue-in-cheek way? A lot of us are called into this career, this occupation, this lifestyle, this life calling because we have had pain ourselves. We have gone through struggles and we have this really deep calling to help other people to not suffer as we have. And lastly, number 7, one thing that we really want you to know is that we totally understand that it's hard to be vulnerable and open during the therapy session. But what often happens is someone is sitting in front of you and they're telling you that nothing really is that different this week, or they feel like they've got it all together. And at the end of the session, that's where they feel confident and they know they're going to be out the door and there's not a lot of commitment. Their hand is on the doorknob and they say, oh, and by the way, and they drop this bomb on you where you just want to dive in and start working on this bigger issue, but they're already out the door. And then when they come back the next week or whenever they come back, they sort of are dodging that little bomb that they dropped. So we call this the doorknob comment. A lot of times therapists don't bring it up because they don't want to scare the client. Where I'm kind of laid back and direct and I add a lot of humor. So once I notice that's a pattern, not if it's once or twice, but if it's really a pattern, I'll bring it up. So just be mindful of, just like it is vulnerable for you to be in the session, your therapist wants you to be as trusting as possible so that they can help you as deeply as they possibly can. So the more you have walls up, the more they can't get to you. So the more you can open up, the easier it is for them to go in and gently excavate whatever is troubling you so that you feel more confident and happy and that you don't have that feeling of, okay, now I'm out the door, I'm going to drop something big. Okay. All right. So that's it. They are the top 7 areas. If you would like weekly inspiration, you can check that link out below. Please subscribe. It really helps me and I hope it will really help you. And also feel free to give me feedback on what you would like to see on this channel. Bye.